And today's sessions is specifically designed for librarian, and so that we'll be able to walk you through how we will be able to use Sage research methods to help all our clients and users. So allow me to share my slides now. I will encourage all of us, all right, to kind of like, be interactive in terms of participation. So when I explain the concept or whatsoever. So just feel free to let me know if you think that there are things that I can, or you need me to actually explain so that it will be clearer as we go along. Yeah, that is the slides that I'm going to use, and just like to make the sessions more efficient, so allow me to toggle between the slides and the actual slides and the actual website so that we will be able to kind of like appreciate where is the features or the things that I'm referring to so that you will be able to have a better understanding about, okay, what are the tools that I refer to. Now, Sage research methods, right? Okay, today's sessions, right, we are going to talk about the introductions to SRM and what are the core tools to support users, including the various way of accessing the content and doing the search to help your users. And then what are the resources, not only for the faculty members, the users, but at the same time, it's also for librarians. But the live demo, actually, I will not just put it towards the end. Instead, I will toggle between the actual presentations as well as the site so that you will be able to have a better appreciation about how we go through. Now, I want to reiterate the fact that a lot of our users, when they come about Sage research methods, because of the title, okay, of the product itself, like research methods, right? So sometimes our user have this understanding or conception saying that, oh, you know what, research method is only talking about research methodology. That's when I do my research, when I need to select the right research methodology for my research purpose, then I will come to this database. But the fact is that research methods, okay, SRM, okay, it includes the entire workflow of our users, okay, from the information literacy all the way if getting started with data, how do they plan the research, select the right methodology, and then we will also talk about the way of collecting the data, managing the data, how they analyze the data, which includes, for example, some of the social scientists may be using the R programming, Python, okay, even the SPSS, okay, VOS viewer, etc. And then until report finding, and then until getting published, meaning to say, how do they actually write a proper abstract, and then how do they actually have tips to writing their thesis, masters or PhD thesis, right? Then how do they write an article? All these will be also available in the getting published. So it serves the entire workflow of our users. So at any point of time, if your users, okay, maybe some of your, let's say your students, masters or PhD come to you, say, can I actually give me some, materials that I can refer so that because I'm at the stage of writing an article and this is my first time for me to write my research paper, and then I just don't have the experience, or because I'm a novice, okay, I say a writer, okay, first time writing the papers. So is there any material I can refer? As will be a wonderful place, okay, for you to refer your users. Yeah. Okay, SRM itself, right, okay, contains, okay, I mean, it supports all level of users from the undergraduates all the way to our postgraduate, including our faculty members. Now, when we say about our faculty members, is the fact that it's because not all faculty members know about the methods that they are actually going to use, right? So some of them may be trying to choose a new methodologies whereby they also need to study. Then on top of that, our faculty members may also be conducting a method course, and then when they want to conduct a method course, they may be looking for books for for the teaching purposes. Then they also may be using for example a case study, okay, which is like to let the users understand how the theory is actually being applied in the actual scenario, and then what are the let's say some data sets for the users to actually do some practical, right? So that's the reason why it is very important. Now, depend on the subscription of the university, these numbers, right? Okay, actually, for our WSU users, Notre Dame currently, okay, has lesser, I think, cases because of the subscription. But then The books wise, I think they are similar. Okay, so because under the SRM core subscription, all of us have the subscription to access of 1,200 plus of Sage renowned books, okay, which include the reference, okay, journal article and etc. Then cases wise, okay, depend on your subscription, but the core one SRM cases and the cases part one, okay, which will actually give you okay access to a lot more. But for WSU currently, because we also have subscription to the medicine and health. So there's also some cases inside there as well. Then there are data sets and there are video as well. Okay, these are the various types of, we say, the contents that's available. Now, interestingly, you will find that, okay, the books, right, actually includes our Little Green books, Little Blue books. Little Green books is actually our very famous, we so-called the quantitative applications in social science, and then the Little Blue books are the qualitative research methods series, right? So because these two series are so popular, and usually, okay, I mean Sage, right, we don't really kind of like digitize this book and make into a product. So you will find that this is the only place where you will have access to all the full series and digitally, and it will allow all your users to have unlimited access to all these two series of very important, I would say, methods book. And we also include major works, okay, dictionary encyclopedias, okay, and then also the journal articles. Now, because, okay, when we first I would say, introduce SRM, we only have the books, right, as our core, like our core. But then as the time goes, right, we got a lot of feedback from our user, whereby we understand and learn the fact that it is also important for us to provide, okay, cases and data sets, because when we are going to learn about methods, right, okay, the book's theory itself, okay, is not sufficient. You need to also understand about how people really apply it, whereby this is the what we so called, can you give me an example? And the where is the example sits, there's actually sits in the case study. Then after knowing the case study, it is still not sufficient. You still need to actually practice it with, you know, with your own hand to actually enhance your learning. Just like the very direct example I gave during last week, just like imagine today you're attending a Microsoft Excel, right, a course, right? Then they will explain, okay, you know, if today you are going to use pivot table, here are the wonderful things that you are going to see from the table. But after they explained it, so do they actually have a case study? They say, however, right, when we use a pivot table, it is wonderful to do this, but it may not be the most suitable way of actually expressing this or that. Then they give you a case study. But at the end of the day, they will still give you a data set so that you can practice yourself. And a lot of times, right, even like myself who attend this Excel course, right, I will realize that even giving the data set, listening through the theory, it doesn't mean that I will be able to do it well with the data sets given. I may find okay difficult to kind of like generate the table that I wanted to. So a practice makes perfect. So it gives the user, after a practice on the data set, it gives the users the confidence. A video is in the sense that if I'm not able to attend a course online or me physical course, then at least a video, right? Okay, watch how the expert doing it, okay, will be kind of like a recording. It will give me the, put the actions, okay, into the actions so that people will be see it, okay, very clearly. So at the end of the day, right, it really kind of like just like when we go to Google, right? Why we're going using Google? Sometimes you just want to to search for understanding, a quick understanding about a terms or even a concept. This is where you will use a reference material such as dictionary or encyclopedia. You don't need to have an in-depth understanding, but you know, just a high-level understanding about a methodology, how this is being applied, then it's sufficient. But when we come to understand the deep, or I would say the coverage of a topic, and that's where we go into the actual book, such as Little Green book, Little Blue book, or the actual academic books, right? And then of course, okay, a lot of times we need a case, because the case really explain, and then they put into context, okay, as a researcher, when I apply these methods, what are the limitations? Okay, that means what can do or what cannot do, what is recommended, what is not recommended, because no method is so-called like perfect, okay, in every aspect. Okay, and then of course, then we need to actually put our hands-on practice. So we need a data set. Last but not least, you can see the methods in action, how the actual user doing it. Okay, and interestingly, video also discuss about okay the challenges. Right, so this is something that we will be able to see as well. Now, literally, all right. I remember there's one question saying that we want to say, I want to explore. Right? Yeah, so literally, that's explain why we have various types of, we call content type. You want to content explore whether it's a book, cases, data set, a podcast, or even a video. And why we want to actually kind of like segregate our information in this way is because a lot of times our user would like to just focus on, like, for example, a case study. then they don't want to, go through all over the books and, when the mixtures between the results of books, cases, and data set and video. So it's kind of like very difficult. Of course, if you are kind of like an expert user, you can click on the cases and do the search, or alternatively, if today I just do a search, for example, interview, right? And I do a search. Okay, then you can see that, okay, we have a lot of contents that's mixed together. Okay, so when these contents are, all mixed together, it's kind of like difficult for you to kind of like browse through. In this situation, our user will be able to narrow it down via the content types, be it reference, cases, video. You can do it this way as well, but it's just that every time when you do that, you need to apply filter. So kind of like, you need to keep doing a couple more steps. It's just knowing that it's not saying that you are not able to reach what you want. It's just that you have to have more steps. So it kind of like give you different ways of accessing your information, so that, but they will all lead to the same place where you'll get it. And then you can search within this search result as well. Yeah. Okay. So always remember, when you want to go back to your front page, you just click on these research methods. All right. And then they will go back to the front page, and then you can start the search refresh. Yeah. So this is where you'll get it. Yeah. Okay, so I will kind of like go through a little bit faster about the books, because just now we already explained. So the books itself include the full digital version of a print text, the handbooks, Little Green Book, Little Blue Book, as well as major works. And then we also have reference material such as dictionary and encyclopedia. Then when we click into the books, right, you can see that, okay, they will actually kind of like categorize for you very quickly. So for our user who would like to go into the books and reference here, right? This is where you'll be able to identify all these information where they categorize for you. You can see that Little Green Book, Little Blue Books, yeah, it's very clear, right? And easy for us to follow. Now, cases wise, yeah, okay, cases is that they explain why the researchers choose the methods and how they overcome or challenges and what went well, what can be done, what cannot be done. So in this situation, right, okay, I would like to highlight to you, okay, the fact that whenever you go back, okay, for I can browse by, okay, now this is another way of doing your browsing. All right, you can go back to your homepage, or you can browse by different types of discipline, content type, or even a topic. Now the topics depends on your subscription. So this is my full subscription, so you can see a lot more. But in your subscription, you may be, for example, in WSU, you should be able to see data visualization, medicine and health, as well as foundation. Yeah. So for example, today I'm going into the cases. Okay, and then case here. Okay, same here, you can see that, okay, they'll be applicable to all the various types of discipline. All right, then what are the methods? You can just, straight away jump into a certain methodology. You will realize that all of them, the searching methods are similar, right? For sampling, for example, scoping review, sensitive topics, right? Okay, so all these are the similar, all right? Academic level wise, all the various type of academic and as well as collection. So for example, today I just want to browse all the cases. So when I just choose any one of them, for example, this one, okay. Okay, this is the place where I want to highlight, okay, and draw your attention. Okay, all the cases are designed like a lesson plan. So on top of what we provide you an abstract, we also provide you the learning outcomes. So this is important. So when our professors who would like to provide their users to learn about what methodology, right? So here is where you get to learn about what is the learning outcome. For example, one of them is identify the different types of longitudinal studies and their use. And another one could be identify the potential challenge and strategies conducting a longitudinal research. So if today the professor think that this is a good case study, he or she would like to include in their teaching, then they can actually kind of like including this. So naturally, if they are actually using this into their learning management system, then this is where you will see the embedded link here, and they can easily put into their learning management system. Yeah. And then, right, if today the person who actually approach you is, let's say, a user, then the user will say that, okay, what actually, okay, this case study has been discussed, and I want to draw your attention. Importantly, always remember, if just looking into the title, okay, you are not going to actually understand what kind of methods that they actually cover. Always remember, you look into the methods here. All right. It covers longitudinal research, data collection, and the consent. Okay, so these are the important things. So let's say today, I find this is interesting, but I need more, okay, varieties, okay, then I will just click on longitudinal research. Immediately, they will go straight into all the various types of, I would say, content, including the videos, including the books, including the cases and data set, all related to longitudinal research. Meaning to say, you don't need to go back to your original search and do longitudinal research. Instead, you can very quickly identify what you want. Yeah, but before I click on that, I want to draw your attention is that this is actually a very good case study whereby they will tell you the overview, how they do the research design, and then research in practice. All right. So what is important that I want to highlight to you is also the fact that if we continue to scroll down, right, we provide discussion questions. Now, discussion question is the place whereby, be it a user doing for self-learning or be it a user whereby they are conducting a methods course, this is the place where they really test whether they understand the concept well or not, right? So that's the reason why this is really like a ready-made, easy for our user to just adopt and then learn it, okay, yeah? And then last but not least, for all the cases that is actually, okay, towards the 2023, 24, 25, we also include the multiple choice questions, right? The old cases, usually they don't come in, okay, because that's where we launch it, okay, way before 2020. So this will not come with a multiple choice question. So I just want to highlight the fact that not all the cases come with this multiple choice question. This is a quick self-check to ensure our user understand, okay, the concept, and then they can clear it, resubmit, right? Now, of course, we have a lot of further reading. Okay, so just now we mentioned about this thing, right? So imagine if today I want to go to longitudinal research, and this is where how far it is. For example, you were demonstrating to a professor who talked about longitudinal research. He said, oh, this is relevant, but I need more material. Can you find it for me? Straightforward. You just click on longitudinal research, and then they were able to actually identify. Yeah, it's working here. It's working hard. Okay, to retrieve the information. Yeah, sometimes. Okay, well, I would like it to retrieve the information, so I will continue with the presentation slides. So the next thing is that I want to highlight to you is about the data sets, yeah? So data sets, right, literally is very important because you really need to ensure that our user who learn about, messaging their data, whether it's qualitatively or quantitatively, they need to kind of like, process the information with confidence. But how do you do it until they put some hands-on practice, right? So that's the reason why, okay, the data set itself, okay, it comes not only with a summary, but also the data sets in various formats, okay, which I will explain to you. And then the teaching and learning materials are also important resources to help the users. So just let's give an example for, let's say, Python or R programming. So a lot of times, right, okay, our users, okay, although they know these are the wonderful, I would say, analysis tools that they can use. However, how to actually put it into practice become very important. Now, before we actually launch the data sets, right? Okay, professors usually teach their users, right? Okay, with their maybe their some of the data sets they actually get it from free resources, and then or maybe sometimes they may actually share their personal research in data sets, okay, which is unclear. Okay, clear, that means there's no privacy issue, and then they just actually use it for their users to practice. However, this actual data sets actually comes with a lot of noise, outliers, and therefore it is not ideal, okay, for practice purposes. So in order for the practice to be good, right, so the data set has to be clean in a way whereby all the outliers, unnecessary noises, right, be clear away, so that our user will be able to actually have a good practice and then see how I would say the analysis program is being worked like. So when they actually build their confidence, then they start to collect their actual data with a lot of noise and outliers. Then because of the confidence level, they will be able to process this information, okay, without much of issues anymore. And that's the reason why we say that, okay, all the data sets, right, are being cleaned, okay? So it means that they are good for practice, okay, for us, for that particular types of methods, right? So for example, it may be thematic analysis in this case, right? Okay, for example, qualitative interviewing. All right. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, okay, so you can see that just now I was clicking on longitudinal research, right? So you can see that straight away they will pull out a lot of relevant books, cases, even the data sets, okay, that's within their subscription. All right. So that's the reason why they give the users a lot more options, okay, when they choose about the longitudinal research. Easy to do the search rather than going through the homepage all the time. So now allow me to show you the data sets. Okay, so your user may come to you saying that, you know what, okay, just show me all the data sets. So very straightforward. You can click here and then go straight and dive into your data sets. So in the data sets, right, okay, we kind of like helping our users to kind of like doing a very good categorization in the sense of whether you want a quantitative or a qualitative. So you can see that, okay, because the quantitative research, right, they can actually subdivide it into all these different types, and the qualitative research can sub into all these different types. So sometimes, right, okay, for example, the diary extracts or ethnographic interviews, so these are kind of like the transcript. All right, so these are more like qualitative analysis. Quantitative analysis are more straightforward, okay? They can be like the numeric. So for example, if I just choose numeric, okay, not sure why it become slowed down already. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is how you'll be able to see that. Okay, so we have many way, like this is one way analysis of variance, right? Okay, so for example, okay, ANOVA. So if I choose this data set as an example, now you'll be able to see that they will provide you a summary. Okay, it's still loading. Then this is the data set where you'll be able to download. So you can see that we have two different format. Okay, actually we got more format, right? Depends on what this data set is talking about. For this case, right, because they are talking about the, I think is SPSS. Therefore, they are actually giving you the .sav format. But let's say if today you have the R programming, then they will .r format, etc. All right. Now, of course, we always provide you with the .csv file. So you can see that, okay, actually they have different format. Importantly, what we will usually recommend our user is going through the teaching and learning materials. Now, the codebook is an important resources for our user. These are actually customized according to this particular data set. And the next thing that I would like to highlight is the student guide. Okay, the student's guide are, I would say, written fresh, okay, for each of the data set. Okay, the only thing that you will find is repetitive is actually the teaching guide. They are all the same, okay, because this is where the teacher will use it. So more or less they are quite similar, but the student guide and the codebook, right, okay, are written fresh, okay, depend on the case, what are they covered, right? And the good thing about this case study is also we provide the resource, okay, where we actually get this information from. All right, so our user can always go back to this particular data set, the original source, and then actually see for the refer for more information. All right, so this is where you will find this data set. Okay, so video. All right, video wise, okay. Usually for our users, okay, who want to actually see this in action, especially our user would like to see the audio and the visual, right? Audio visual combinations of learning mode, then this will be a wonderful resources to help our user. But our faculty members also find this very helpful because not only that they can actually kind of like put it some video as a pre-reading before they attend the class, they can also supplement as a post-reading material, right, to let our user have a deeper understanding. But more important is that, okay, video now, because we have new functions here, that means we are allow our users to download offline, right? Or we watch it offline. That's the reason why, okay, it allows our users to actually have a better kind of like experience, okay? No need to worry about their, I would say, kind of like internet issues, right? Because sometimes, right, you may be traveling, you may be on the road, whereby, okay, viewing the online streaming can be quite challenging, where, you know, the video streaming may be, you know, interrupted from time to time. So if the user will be able to download it offline, then they will be able to see it. Yeah. Yeah. Not sure why my browser got so slow. Okay. So same here. You can see, okay, by discipline, by the various types of methodology and the video types. Now, these are the 8 video types that's available, okay, which I explained in my PowerPoint slide. So you also have case study, documentary, conference, in practice, tutorial, definition, interview, and conversations. All right. I think they are quite straightforward. Okay, always just remember, okay, interview is the interviewee and the interviewer. So one person asks question, the other just answer. Conversation is refer to two experts. Okay, their views exchange. You know, both of them are actually contributing, okay, to the topics. All right, then in practice is how they actually do it in real world situations. Tutorial is the key course topic, how to understand it, how to do it, and what are the key points. All right, conference is really that, you know, we kind of like capture the video during a presentations. Then our case study is really that how did they did their research and then why they choose the method. So there will be a kind of discussion. Definitions are really short, they're very short videos. So they just explain about the concept. So the chapters are being, I would say, separated in terms of timestamp. So you can see that chapter 1, chapter 2. So they have from 0 minutes to 5 minutes and 52 seconds. And then chapter 2, you have another one. So you can also see that we provide a transcript, and this transcript is a rolling transcript, meaning to say you will be able, as the video play, right, the transcript will actually go accordingly, so that it helps our user who sometimes, you know, cannot catch exactly what the speaker is talking about. Of course, we do also provide the closed caption. They can also watch within that video, and then this video can expand to a larger to occupy the full screen. Now, importantly, you'll be able to search keywords within the transcript. So sometimes the author only mentioned a certain concept after, let's say, 7 minutes. So you don't want to waste your time, you know, watching through the 7 minutes. You just search the transcript, they will straight away jump into that particular section to allow you to view it. And it allows our user to embed into their learning management system. And then we also have another download there whereby I want to show you, okay, for example, exploring factor analysis. Okay, yeah, okay, so now we get into it now. So you can see it here. For this, we only have one chapter, so straightforward. But important is that we have this auto transcript, and then we are also able to do the search here, right? You are able to do the search now. One thing important here is you are able to download the video. All right, it allows you to have up to 14 days, all right, to download the video. But in order for this to work, you need to register yourself a profile. So every time we log into your profile, you'll be able to watch this video offline. Then it will actually take away any, you know, traveling issues, okay, or any offline issue. You can even watch inside your traveling, be it on a train or even in the plane, right, without any issue. And these are the video information whereby they talk about what are the methods, okay, available here. Okay, important. Okay, these are the important features. Now, there are the core tools to support the users. Just like what I've mentioned, there are 5 different simple ways of retrieving the content. The first one is, of course, by the keyword. Just like any Google search, right? We all search by the keywords. However, I need to highlight to this important concept to our user is that, all right, our user very often confused between a journal database and SRM. So they will use their normal, you know, topic keyword to search it here. Okay, bear in mind, all right, the topic keyword is for them to do their research, but the topic itself is not a method, right? So they will need to actually search their methods only using the SRM, and this is something very important. All right, we need to keep on keep educating our user. So for example, today I'm interested in human resource management. Then human resource management is not a it's not a method, right? So I cannot use HRM, okay, to actually kind of like doing the search here. But if you ask me, if I type human resource, do I get some result? Definitely, you will get some result. But it's just that they will mix with all sorts of methodology, which may not be relevant to what they want. So the ideal situation would be, okay, study that paper first, okay, in the journal, whatever journal database that they use, and then zoom down to the methods. And then from the methods, right, they will actually identify the methods that they want to use. That's where they can deep dive, or they want to compare various types of method. That's where they will be able to come back to SRM and do their search. So I want to highlight to you this example here, like just like for example, I go to my search journals, right, and then I do a search on marketing, for example. Then I say, okay, how can marketing academics serve marketing practice, the new marketing DNA as a model for marketing education, right? So you can see that, okay, after I think this is a paper that's relevant to me, so what I'm doing is that maybe I will keep this paper for my reference, for my literature, and then I want to study how people do it. That's where I zoom down to my methods. And you notice that the method is actually in-depth interviews. They talk about interview, right? That this is the method, but it's not about marketing, right? So if I put marketing in SRM to do the search, I think I'm really in the wrong practice, right? So this is where we teach our user the right way. And then they talk about the qualitative method, the in-depth interview technique is inducive, blah, blah, blah. And then they also talk about the sample size. So this is important that how they do it. So if today I will talk about, I will say that, okay, I'm not sure about, okay, how do I actually, what are the good sample size for me? I need to study that. And that's where I come back to here. Then maybe I will do a search on sample size. Alright, so this is about the interviews, learn about interview, learn about sample size, what are the various types of interviews available, and why I choose this interview, not the other. This is where we really need to do it. Yeah, I will continue my presentation, and later I will tell you more example as we go to the methods map, which is a very, very important research tool, right? So retrieving the information, methods number one is simple, used by keyword. So you can see that we type interview rather than, education among middle class. This one cannot, okay, this one is not the right way, okay? You always remember interview is the method. Number two is the advanced search. Number three, search by the content type. Number four, by the discipline. And last but not least, by research method. So where do we find them? Straightforward. Number one, you come back here. I go back to my home page, right? Okay, in my home page of SRM, number one, okay, where I will find by keyword search. Number two, advanced search. Number three, explore the content type. The content type can also be found here. Number four, by discipline. Last but not least is by your research tool. Okay, methods map, project planner. Okay, as particularly methods map here and project planner. Okay, which I will actually explore to you why. Okay, so this is an important, very, very importantly, methods map itself. Okay, is one of the most powerful, I would say, tools, because personally, I find that this bird's eye view provide us a very in-depth understanding about the relationship between various types of methods, and this bird's eye view, right, okay, allow us to actually see the concept terrain, okay, among the different types of how they actually connect together. Now you may recall the very first slide when I talk about, okay, all the various steps of the research methodology that we cover, all right, and this all actually encompassed inside this methods map. Okay, so you can see that this is an interactive map, but I do apologize the fact that currently we have some kind of like issues here. I don't understand why they keep repeating the same things like twice, right? Like for the data collection, they shouldn't be repeat twice. Okay, only the first page. I don't understand why they actually this issue at this now. But then while we are waiting for this to be resolved, you can see that if today I have this data collection, all right, so you can see that actually it begins from the key concept in the research philosophy. What are the research ethics? How do they plan the research design, collect the data quality and management, then qualitative data analysis, quantitative data analysis, communicating and disseminating data science, and until researchers development in the future. So it's kind of like entire research workflow of a research cycle, right? So naturally, for example, today, if I'm interested in the, let's say, data collection, okay, and you can see that under the data collection, right, I can collect the data via the qualitative, quantitative, or even a mixed method, and then I'll be able to talk about the sample size. Now, just now we mentioned about the qualitative data collections, right? Okay, for example, then from here, right, I'll be able to see that there are many types of qualitative data, okay, research that is actually revolved. Now, one very interesting example that I can kind of like showcase to you is that, for example, today I may go for a qualitative interview. All right, under the qualitative interview, I got so many types of interview, just like the paper they mentioned. It talk about interviews, right? But they didn't mention about what type of interviews that I should choose. So this is where you will be able to see that whether I want to use a creative interview, elite interview, or maybe in-depth interview. I think I remember they talk about in-depth interview, right? Okay, it's actually when mentioned here, okay, about the in-depth interview. Okay, qualitative methods, right? Yeah, they talk about that. And then we come back here. So you have the interview guide, and then you have the life history interview, and then transcript, and next, etc. One of the good example just now, I mean, I showed it last week, was that a life history interview. Like for example, I want to, interview about someone about the life history, and I may actually study this approach, okay, that uses a form of individual interview directed to documenting the respondent's life, as but it has been developed over the life course. Now, interestingly, now you see that live interview, I got it here from qualitative interviewing. But if I move backward, because you can see that, right, the border term, you can go to life history research, all right? Actually, life history interview will also fall under the life history research. So instead of moving ahead and I move backward, straight away, I will be able to identify, on top of life history interview, there are also a diary methods, oral history research, biographical interpretive methods, and autobiography. This will actually give me the different types of exploration of, should I just stick to life history interview, or maybe I should just consider oral history research. So what are the differences between these methods? Right, so why I don't want to use diary method, or maybe this one? because maybe not everybody have the habit of keeping a diaries, right? So maybe these methods are being ruled out. Then of course I can also consider as autobiography, but do I need to have a certain criteria if I want to choose to this method? So does it affect my sample size? Yeah, so these are the things that I need to consider, all right? But of course I can move behind, okay, a little bit more, because life history interview or oral history interview, right, they can also fall under narrative research. Or okay, so under the narrative research, right, okay, so if someone describe narrate, right, so you can see that they're actually a personal narrative. So is it a life history or personal narrative? So this can be something that for me to actually explore. So always remember, okay, this important, I would say, methods map, right, allow us to actually move forward and backward, move forward and backward. And this will actually allows us to see the interconnectivity between the right methodologies for our users. And this is an amazing tool, right, to actually do the comparison and I would say to help our user, okay, to choose the right methods, yeah. Okay, so this I already explained, so allow me to move on. All right, so the next thing is of course project planner. So what is a project planner? Project planner basically is a step-by-step simple guide for all stages of research. This is a very important, I would say, like project management, like a project management to help our users to go through like from the first step all the way until their last step of doing their research. This is particularly useful, especially for our user who are new to research, who are considered a novice researcher. Um, a lot of times I would say that sometimes our user just join the the higher ed or postgraduate studies, and then they are not really know that okay, what are the steps that they should follow. So and we also understand the fact that our faculty members are very busy. Sometimes they may be taking, let's say, 5 or 6 masters and PhD students combined, and whereby to go through all the steps and then to help them to kind of like navigate through the entire research workflow can be quite time consuming. So referring them to this workflow, I would say the project planner could be very systematic to help them so that our user will not be easily deviated, okay, or maybe distracted, okay, during their research process. So you can see that from the overview until philosophy of research, defining a topic, then how do they do their literature proper, developing a proper researchable questions, then how they design their research planning, research ethics, data collection, so on and so forth, all the way until the dissemination of information. So same here, where do we find these tools? And then go to project planner. Okay, so you can see that. Okay, so for example, defining a topics, right? Not all our users know that, okay, what they want to study. Because while they are actually, trying to figure out what to study, define a topic could give them a very good understanding about what they need to know. All right, so these readings are very short, okay, very succinct and concise. It kind of like, easy for our users to kind of like digest rather than lost them, but we guide them through, okay, with a short, simple, I would say a synopsis to actually understand. At any point of time, okay, they can always deep dive, all right? Click into this link, I would say link, and then deep dive and into our, the entire database in order to actually to have a lot more information for them to read, yeah? So at any point of time. So one of the important things that I find quite helpful is that the checklist. So you can see that to ask yourself when deciding on a topic. So are you interested enough in the topic? For example, do you know how you will actually do the research? Yeah. So sometimes it cannot be, kind of like hallucinate, right? I think I can do it, but I do not know how I plan to do it, right? These are the actual, I would say, steps that you need to actually think, right? So for example, do you know what kind of ethical approval you need? But of course, not all research will involve ethical approval. And then can you get access to the research context? Yeah, this is also important, right? Then can you work out the timetable for getting the research? Not all questions need to be answered. However, I would say that it is actually a good checklist to ensure that they understand this, yeah? So this is actually, they go through the entire, okay. And of course, the next thing is which stats test. Which stats test is what statistical test or which statistical test, right, is suitable for them to actually kind of like do the test for their data. Okay, so what is the purpose of the analysis? They can look for the difference of the data, then they can click on next question. Okay, how many groups are you comparing? More than 2 groups? But at any point of time, if our user are not so sure about what do they mean by that, they can actually click on here, and then they will kind of like provide you an explanation about this. Okay, what exactly they are referring to, right? So this is actually a good tool for our users to identify, okay, a simple, I would say, statistical test for their data sets, right? Match or unmatched, okay? Then the next question, let's say interval, okay? Are you data distributed? I would say yes, for example, okay? okay, the view suggested test, and straight away you can see that they will suggest the ANOVA test. All right, simple. And you're not sure about ANOVA, then you can just click on here, and then something will pop up, okay, and explain that. Yeah, so it's actually which statistical test, right? Finally, okay, I think it's important that we want to help our user is, okay, to create a profile. Now, to create a profile is very straightforward, okay? Number one, okay, click on create a profile, and number two, create my profile. Now, for our users, okay, why I think this is important, because they kind of like the reading list itself, right, that they created, they can keep a lot content, like for example, the books, videos or data set or cases, okay, all under a particular topic, right? A topic, or maybe like your stages of your research, and then that's where you will be able to share with your collaborators. This is particularly useful for students, or maybe some researchers who have co-authors or who have collaborators. Also very good for our faculty members who are using this, okay, to share, okay, pre-reading materials with their students, right? Okay, so that they will be able to do it. Yeah. Then number two, searches is where, okay, maybe, you know, just now I may do my searches combinations, right? So after I run my search, then I may want to keep it. So instead of doing keeping the searches, right, okay, using a paper and pen, instead I will keep it in the electronic format. Then I will just rerun it. Then you can see how I'm able to do it. Now, here is an example. Here's an example that, for example, in Sage Journal or any journal database, I use machine learning. Then I found a lot of articles, right? You can see that the 32,000 that matches the machine learning. Then I browse through some of the paper, I identify one of the paper that I'm interested, okay, from the journal industry in higher education. So for example, this article shows how business undergraduates with no prior experience in coding can use AI and machine learning to solve business-related problem, especially in human resource management. All right, so I'm thinking maybe this is good, right? Okay, then when I jump into the methods, then I realize that they are actually using, they're talking about Colab from Google Research, and they're also talking about Python code, okay, because it's a free dynamic. So maybe I'll say, okay, yeah, maybe I should learn about Python, but you know, learn about Python is not so simple. So what I will do is that straight away, I will come back to here, right, to SRM, and I search about using the keyword Python, and I will be able to identify the books for learning Python, a video to talk about Pythons, as well as data sets, okay, after I learn all the coding. Yeah, so this is where you can see that the combinations between how they do the search and how they use the SRM. But if in the first place, I use, let's say, human resource management, all right, or whatsoever, trying to, or machine learning, try to do here, maybe it already kind of like, you know, deviate from what I'm trying to search. So searching effectively has become very important, and use the database the correct way it is supposed to design for is also very important. So you can see that this is really for Python, quantitative data analysis, then these are the programming, and then this is also about the method is about Python, you know, social media research. Yeah. And then remember just now we also talk about the profile. So the profile I encourage our user to register is because after I've collected the three information, okay, no, not the information, the three content types that I would like to keep for my study, then I can actually keep them under my Python, whereby I may use it for my result analysis chapter. So that's reason why how we organize our information, where I can be able to share, I can able to, no, so along the way, as I need more information, that I can create that, and then create my list, then I can do it. So basically about, for example, this case, when I do my proposal, I may not good at writing proposal, so I need to learn something. So I did, you know, so I keep a topic called proposal and grant application. This will actually go into my literature, you know, about my question, my questionnaire, my research question, and then I'm conducting an online interview. This is go to a data collection chapter. Then maybe I need to learn about machine learning. That's my actual methods. Then I'm using Python to do my analysis. And finally, I may want to write thesis, so I can also find papers, right? And refer to my project planner. All right. So that is actually an important resources to help our users. Understand the fact that today librarians are the key supports to our users. So I want to introduce you our so-called our training resource center. So training resource center is a place where you will be able to identify, okay, where you will be able to see the material for our user, but also the material for our trainer. So imagine today you have a user who approach you, and then they say that, oh, you know what, for example, okay, Maureen, I need to self-learn. Then you can actually direct them. I've given the link to Maureen, so Maureen should have this link as well. You can see that here we have not only SRM, but we also have, some of you may already have the Sage video, business case, and you also have knowledge and journal. Data Planet most of us don't have it yet. Only a handful, because the data planet are, how to say, they have a lot of worldwide data, but at the same time, they also have a specific country-specific data. Some of them are more US focused. So that's the reason why, okay, our subscribers are various. So, but here is already kind of like support most of our users, including the research method. So when you click on the SRM, right, you'll be able to identify literally we provide, okay, two modes of learning. Number one is you want to learn about yourself, and this will be wonderful for your user, all right? And then number two, if anybody, be it a librarian or be it even our faculties who want to teach about this product, then this is the place where you will be able to go, all right? And you can watch a recorded webinar about this product, and this is the place where you can go as well. So you can see that we provide we so-called like a proper lesson plan whereby it will combine combinations of videos, a PDF, all right, a PDF plus a PowerPoint, so that you'll be able to learn it, okay? And then for users, right, we even provide you kind of like a delivery guide, some kind of training activities, you know, and then what are the costs, okay, for if you want to really conduct. Now, however, okay, importantly, most of the time, okay, no matter which page you are landed, okay, in SRM, always scroll down to the bottom of the screen, whereby you will see that this is the faculty help and the frequently asked questions. These are the two amazing resources to help our user, all right? So for example, faculty, you click here, all right, straight away, okay, it will help our user faculty members to identify, for example, sample assignment, user guides, common courses, frequently asked questions, additional SAGE resources here, all right? So we actually give them a lot for more information to help them, all right? But importantly, I also want to highlight the fact that we provide very important resources for our librarian. So our librarians, but these resources are, I would say that will update, especially the title list, okay, from time to time. So title list, I wouldn't expect that you kind of like keep changing the title list every year, because we usually have an annual update. So you only update it once a year is enough. However, for most of the time, our librarian would like to enter is about the reporting, all right? Maybe some of the resolver, some of the quick guide, and the title list, mark record, and discoverability. So these are the important ones. If the library is organized a session and would like to kind of like promote, okay, some kind of like seminar or whatsoever, then we also provide some kind of like standard poster for you to use as well. Okay, so just feel free to use them. Anything here are free, right? Don't need to write for us for clearance. Just use it. Okay, they are all free for use. Yeah. Okay, so here you can see that we have many the quick start guide, then the brochures, the tutorial flyers, and then the library guide, link resolver, counter reporting for secure center. I'm not sure who is being appointed as the person who take care of the usage, but if you really need help about the secure center, okay, do let me know. Okay, I'm happy to explain as well. Right, so this is the place where you talk about the secure center, then the librarian resources here. All right, so you can click here, the librarian resource center here, and it actually brings you to the, okay, same place where here lah, same. Okay, whereby this is research methods, right? So this one is only for research method. Okay, so it's the same place. Okay, so for librarian resource center, if you go back another step, here is the place where you can see for SRM, books, business case, skills, video, campus or catalyst or whatsoever, depend on the resources that you have. So after you click on the SRM, this is the place where you'll be able to find your discoverability checklist. All right, and then your editable usage poster, you can use it, and then so some sample for social media if you want to push for usage, yeah, and a quick start guide. Yeah, so here are the some other banners here. Yeah, and then we'll move on. Yeah, so this is the librarian resource center. So I already show you here. They are the same. They are the same, okay? And then one more thing is, of course, importantly is that about the research methods community. Now, this is really like an option. Okay, this one is still loading. Something wrong. Okay, then I close it. Okay, this one is, so I go back to my methods map. Okay. All right. So you can go down, you can scroll down to the end of the session. Research community. Okay, this is an important place and resources as well. If today your user would like to know more about, let's say, what are the active, okay, I would say the social and behavioral scientists, what are they actually active talking about? So there are many blogs here, the latest blog. So you can see that the blogs page here, they will talk about, okay, various types of topics available. Some of them are quite new. You can click on that and watch it. Yeah, okay, for to help our users, okay, to keep up to date, okay, regarding some of the projects that's being, I would say, conducted globally and worldwide. Yeah, so this is about this research community. Yeah, so with that, I think more or less is the everything that I want to cover. I hope I give you a very good understanding about, okay, how you will be able to support your user, right, through this through the database, okay, and then for your user. Yes, so for this time I would like to save some time for our user to ask questions. Our last sessions, right? Our user don't have too much time left to ask question. Now we have 6 minutes to ask question. Thank you. Yes. Any questions?
Yeah, just feel free to unmute yourself. This is a friendly space. No question is silly.
I was just
Yes.
going to say, Liam, that I've used the methods map a lot of times with HDR students, and I think they find that very helpful, and the planner as well. So I think they're really great resources for our research students. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any of the wonderful librarians from Notre Dame, have you got any questions at all?
Not so much a question, it's just, I guess, an affirmation. We also use the Project Planner tool and recommend it to HDRs and others. It's very, although we know research is not as neat and linear as that would suggest, it's still very useful in terms of identifying the stages and unpacking them a bit. Yeah.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
I've shared the links. I took a screenshot of your URL bar and shared the links with the librarians, and I'll include that in the follow-up email.
Okay. Any other questions? No.
I was just going to ask, in
Yes.
the video
Yes.
part where we've got the section on communication and media,
Mm.
do you know if they're planning to provide any updated videos there? I think it looks like the last lot were released 2019. Would there be any more new ones being added to that collection?
Okay. At this moment, if I remember, there's no. Okay, so when you go into the video collections, right, there are SRM video, which is actually the very first one that includes all types of methodologies. Then other that, there's other video that are more topic specific, right? Such as, for example, business or maybe clinical and medicine. Now, for this generic one, okay, whenever there are new methodologies that is, made available, then we will update and include them into the core. That means the very first one, SRMV, right? If there's no updates to it, it means that there's no kind of like new methodology that we found among the methods. So what happened here is that it's unlike example journal, because journal, you know, every week, every day we have new article released. So that's the reason why they will actually include. But for methods, right, they are kind of like very slow in terms of expanding the content because new methods don't evolve every day now and then. So unless there's a new method, then we will actually include it in. So, and for for anybody who actually subscribe to this video collection, okay, if there's a new added, okay, it actually comes free because it's within part of your subscription. But if there's no added, then that means there's no new methods being worthwhile for us to add it in. But when there's a new one, yes, we will actually add it in. Thank you.
Okay. Dilem, I want to thank you for your time and your expertise that you've shared with us. I'd like to, thank you also for involving like 2 university librarians in the one session. I thought that was a a really nice thing offer when you first offered it to me. I was quite happy that you offered that to me. So I hope everyone's benefited from today's session, and I'll send out an email to everyone following this. Everyone from Notre Dame, if you're having issues in accessing the Zoom recording, can you let me know? And I might get my colleague to actually edit the video and put it up onto YouTube. It might make access a little bit easy. So if when I send it out, if the Zoom link doesn't work, just please let me know, and I'll work to fix that. Thank you so much for your time today, everyone. Thanks for a great presentation, Dr. Lim.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Thank you very much. And we'll give everyone a minute back in their day for you to do something nice for yourself. Okay. Thank you for today, everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.